Oh yeah, the first sips of coffee of the day. Mm. Mm. Suddenly it all comes together. Anyway, hey, this is Mark Shepard, and I'm back today. This is day 10 of the 100-day Hypnosis of Money challenge, and I just did my cryptos, so if you haven't watched those for the day, check those out. I actually bought some Litecoin live while I was making the video, and I also updated my Ambis. And I want to start talking about some of the dumbass mistakes that I have made and the mindset around mistakes. Let's angle this a little bit more this way. Hopefully you can see this. Because I used to have this whole pattern in my neurology where I would literally just beat myself up if I did anything wrong. And as a little kid, I think I'm somewhere on the autism spectrum, the Asperger's spectrum, because setbacks would just destroy me. Literally things that I thought I did wrong would just freak me out, or someone's criticism of something that I did wrong would freak me out. And so my pattern is to learn on my own. I really like learning without somebody teaching me, right? Because then I can figure out what I don't know and then find somebody who knows that and learn from them exactly what I need to know and then go back to what I want to do. But there is no better teacher than your own dumbass mistakes, right? And the thing is, if you can learn from them, if you cannot tear yourself down too much when you make them, because you're going to make them, that's the learning curve. You didn't just hop out of your diaper and out of your crib and start walking. You fell down a lot. You didn't just ride a bike the first damn time you got on a bike, right? Even learning how to drive a car, learning how to cross the street. There's lots of things we learned how to do, right? And we didn't always get them right, and we can still screw up, right? We have auto accidents sometimes. Stuff happens. I can handle knives quite well, and every once in a while I still cut myself, right? So that's the real piece. And the thing is, what's going on in your mind? What were you thinking before you cut yourself with the knife, right? Sometimes those things are connected, and that's the hypnosis part of this. And I really want to get through to you that if you don't change the way you think, you're going to just end up right back where you were. And we are trying to make a transformation here so that we get away from our credit cards and we get away from paying compounding interest to large companies or to the government or all these different other organizations that have figured out this compounding interest thing, and that we start getting compound interest paid to us. That's the whole thing. And it's a learning curve. This is a new world. So, man, I feel that coffee coming in, and my excitement's coming back. All right, so the first dumbass mistake I made was not backing up my Exodus wallet in my laptop, right? And I backed it up once to see what the backup worked, but then I was moving currencies in and out, and I didn't get around to backing it up. And it's the thing is, you want to back it up a lot, and not to your computer, but to an external drive, to a jump drive, right? Or to a hardware wallet. So in the days to come, I'm gonna order a couple of different hardware wallets, and I'm gonna see what's involved with those, and we'll check those out, and I'll share whatever I learn with you guys. All right, so I went to the Apple store yesterday with my laptop, and this is how cool the universe is, right? I went to the Apple store with my I went to the Apple store with my laptop, and they took care of me right away. They have a whole system, blah, blah, blah. I didn't wait very long. They looked at it. They couldn't start it. It just wouldn't turn on. It's just not turning on. So they took it in the back. I had to wait a half hour, and I came back, and they opened it up. No, they couldn't get it started, so they had to send it out. And they're like, okay, that's $475. And I went, $475 for a 2-year-old laptop? when I could just go and buy an IBM PC compatible laptop for $400. Ouch. Ouch. My nose is running. Excuse me, I don't have a tissue. Yes, I do. I have a tissue right here. So, my thought was, I should just get a new computer and not an Apple. Get a laptop, get a dumb IBM. But then I'm going to get a virus in a minute. Right? So, the horns of a dilemma. Well, okay. I thought I may have $200 of crypto on there. I may have more. I may have 300 on there. So, if I can spend 475 and recover that crypto, well, then it's, and I got 300 of crypto on there, then it's only 175. Okay, I guess that's worth it, right? How do you know what it's worth, right? That's that's hypnosis. That's a thought process. And then they said, by the way, if turns out it's water damage, it's going to be like $700. Whoa, in which case, if it's going to be $700, I'm not going to have them fix it. Just send the laptop back, right? So how is this good? That's the question that we want to begin to ask whenever we make a mistake, is how is this good? And how it's good is I learned something, and I didn't have that much crypto on the laptop. And so this is a whole new world, and we have to develop new habits and patterns around it. This was a good time to learn that at the beginning, right? Not if there was 15 Bitcoin there. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there are people out there who have a ton of Bitcoin and it's not backed up, or it might be on an exchange, right? That's the other thing. You don't want to leave your Bitcoin, your cryptos on Coinbase exchange because you don't hold the keys, right? But to move it off of there, you have to learn how to do it, right? And I was a little trepidatious, and it wasn't until the Bitcoin hard fork last week, and the week prior, I was like, well, I better do something. You know, that external pressure caused me to take action, right? Sometimes these mistakes cause us to take action, right? The crash of 2008 caused me to be doing this now because I think another crash is imminent, and I want to take care of myself. I want to cover my ass. I want to take care of my friends. I want to create hope and prosperity in the midst of what looks like it might be another big financial boom, bust, calamity cycle, right? So we'll see. So it was good because it was a cheap lesson in backing shit up. That's why it was good, right? And I'm not going to focus on why it was dumb and why I'm an idiot and why this, but what happened is some old pattern came up. My initial reaction, I caught myself with a limiting belief that, this always happens. I'm doing really well and I think I'm going to be successful, and I do some stupid thing to just screw it all up, right? And this happens in relationships too. The relationship's going really well, but then she says something or he says something, or and it was going so well. It was going so well, right? I just wanted to keep going well. Well, things don't keep going well. Things always change, right? The squirrel outside my window has to deal with the fact that it's not always summer. There's not always acorns everywhere, right? We have to adapt. That is the human experience. That is the physical experience of stuff doesn't always go the way we want it. And that's how we grow, by adapting and changing and adapting to changing circumstances. And mistakes are literally just a way to practice, right? So if you can, we call it a reframe in NLP. If you can train yourself to immediately reframe it and go, okay, you know what? It's a game. I lost that round. So what? Boom, I learned, and next time I'll do it better. That's it, right? That's your lesson, right? And still, be careful. So the lesson here, and I'll probably have to erase this and write it all out. Okay, so I made a list of things that were bad, things that were good, and I didn't say bad, I said not good, right? Because we want to make sure that we're constantly talking to your unconscious mind. So $475 to fix. And maybe I may have had $400 worth of cryptos on there. I don't know. It wasn't more than 400. I'm pretty sure. But I had some Dash. I had some EOS. I think I had $100 of EOS. I had maybe $100 of Dash. I had almost no Bitcoin because I moved that all into Ambis. I had a little bit of Litecoin, a little bit of Ethereum, and that may be gone. It may be just gone forever. Now, The other little piece of this is my friend Jonathan used to work at the Apple Store, and I went over to his house, and he invited somebody over there who I think still works at the Apple Store to show her this stuff, right? And we talked about my computer a little bit, and she says, "Oh no, you can just take your hard drive out of that laptop and just use it. You know, she has little enclosures you can put that in. Just use it as an external drive. You don't need the laptop part. You can get your stuff back." So I'm like, how cool is that? And if she decides to go for this and do Ambis and some of this other thing, she might be in my downline, right? And it's like, oh, there are solutions. It's not always the way they say, right? And one other thing I want to say. In 2009, I think I went to the Apple Store in the mall, the Cross Gates Mall here in Albany, New York. And the mall itself it was like a morgue. It was so quiet in there, right? And then I heard the sound, and I came around the corner, and the Apple Store was packed. There was no recession in the Apple Store. And Apple at that time, which was just shortly after Steve Jobs' death, went on to become, the most profitable company in the world. Well, everything changes, right? The stuff that's up, like Apple, how much farther up can Apple go? If everybody has an Apple computer, do you know what I mean? There's a certain point where there's no more room for growth. And you don't buy there, right? And I went to the Apple Store yesterday, and just the energy of the place, you can tell just between 2009 and 2017, the quality of the people working there is lower. It's much. You can see they're bringing in the more minimum wage type people, right? As the bean counters start coming in and cutting costs, right? And the people that I talked to last night who used to work for Apple or who are thinking of leaving, right? People never thought of leaving Apple, right? Apple was awesome, right? It's like someone working for Google. People go, "Why are you leaving Google?" Or someone working for the state health department. People go, "Oh, you threw away your pension and your health benefits? You left? Why'd you leave?" Right? Well, because sometimes the heart wants what the world does not allow, right? By the way, you should listen to my song "Fly," If I Could Fly, because that line is, sometimes your feet seem to know exactly where they want to go, and it's wise to let your body follow, follow, follow. Sometimes your heart seems to want what the world does not allow. And there are those who advise you to leave your best fields fallow. And the bottom line is, I don't want you to leave your best fields fallow. I want you to grow. I want you to learn. I want you to become rich. I want you to become independent of the matrix. Exit the matrix. And you're going to make mistakes along the way. So stop beating yourself up and learn from them. The only mistake is not learning from your mistakes, right? So let's just recap. Back up your cryptos, right? Get a hardware wallet. And back that shit up. Get 2 hardware wallets, right? This is real money, people. You would not just leave gold lying around, right? If your laptop was filled with gold and that gold could disappear if the laptop died, you would be more careful, right? So be careful, right? And I have a couple other videos I'm going to make. Like I did a really dumbass thing in microhash, and I'll show you that in the next one. But I think I covered what I needed to cover. So on the bad side, it's inconvenient, it's expensive. On the good side, it was a cheap lesson in backing shit up. I'd already moved most of it off. If I can get the computer fixed for $475, basically that crypto will cover it. The recovery of the crypto will cover it. So it's really free. The lesson is free, right? It's always looking at your ROI. And I caught myself with a limiting belief. This always happens when I'm doing well. And so I can change that limiting belief. I have all my tools from my Beyond Beliefs course. If you haven't checked that out yet, you might want to check it out. And I'm just going to make sure I clear that belief so that it's not running in my background programs, screwing me up, right? So that's all pretty good. And I want to build a philosophy of prosperity and power so that we can use our gifts to contribute to the world. That's the big, big picture, right? And if I can do this, if a math nudnik, a human being that makes mistakes, sometimes I'm sloppy, sometimes I'm impulsive, sometimes I get enthusiastic and just jump into things, and that's a great trait, but it also has some downsides. So, like, I had a long conversation with my friend Michael yesterday, and he has a different mind. He's a financial planner, and he does everything very methodically and step by step, and he's helping me do more of that, and I'm helping him to get more into the cutting edge of things, right? So it all works out. Why does it work out better than you could possibly imagine? And that's a phrase, if you haven't watched my other hypnosis stuff, that's the most powerful self-hypnosis in the world. Why does this work out better than I can possibly imagine? Changes your neurology and puts you back in a resourceful state so that you can get back at it. All right, so that's it for this video. Just some of the dumbass mistakes I made and what you can learn from them so that you are covered. You'll make your own mistakes, you'll make other mistakes, and maybe you'll teach me some things, right? Some number one rules: do not leave any large amount of crypto on Coinbase or any other exchange, right? Number two, if you have an external wallet, you should get an external wallet. Maybe you get a couple of different ones, right? Try different ones. Right now, Exodus does not work on multiple computers. They're working on that. It only works on one computer. So pick your computer and then back it up to the other computer if you have more than one computer, right? And back it up religiously. Back it up every hour. Back it up at the end of every day. And then maybe back it up someplace else, right? Those are just precautions. My recording engineer and arranger, Joe Monona, has like triple backups of all of our sessions, right? That's just good computer hygiene, right? And we all need to practice it because this money is in digital form, and we're still wrapping our heads around it, and there's still a lot to learn. There's a wallet called Jax that you can put on your phone. I haven't done that yet. That's probably my next thing. I didn't like the idea of carrying around my phone, with large amounts of money. But you want to have different wallets. Like women have different purses for different occasions. You want to have different wallets. So you might want to have one on your phone that has enough money in it so you can buy gas and coffee or whatever. You might, or if your car breaks down, you have some resource there, right? But not so much that if you lose your phone or drop your phone into a puddle, that it's totally lost, right? So that's the whole next step. We're gonna start backing our shit up so we can be safe, and we're gonna continue to grow it aggressively, but responsibly and intelligently. So there'll be more videos. That's it for now. My name is Mark Shepard. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. I think this is an exciting adventure, and I'd like to have you along. I'd like to hear from you. I'd like your comments below, and share this. Share this with a friend. Don't keep this to yourself unless that's your thing. That's okay too, because people need to hear this message. They need to know that there's a way to learn how to manage their money, to grow it, so that they can pay off their credit card debt and quit their jobs, right? And be free. That's what a great time to be alive. And there will be challenges to that. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? If it was easy to be a rock star and to be famous and rich as a rock star, everybody would be doing it. And there's a lot of people who've been trying to do it. My last point. I want to make one more point before I sign off. My one point. And I wrote this down. In the music world, it's all sellers and no buyers. For example, I noticed on the Steemit open mic, every week there's an open mic contest on Steemit. And I just noticed, like, only 2 people even listened or watched the video I submitted. Because why? Because they want everybody to watch their video. They don't want to watch my video. They want to watch their video, which is why I don't like to hang out with singer-songwriters, right? Because we all want people to hear our stuff. And you don't want to be in a room of a bunch of people who want you to hear about them when you have something to give, right? It's like they're a bunch of piranhas, right? All they want is to be fed. They don't want to feed you. So as a musician, you have to find people who actually want to listen, right? And that's harder and harder. However, in this market, people are so hungry for this idea that the whole world is moving towards it. This is a revolution, people. Pay attention. The last thing is, my friend Michael Guerin and I used to go to these Chamber of Commerce networking meetings, and Mike would say, yeah, it's a room full of sellers. There's no buyers. So going there and telling people about your company and your services, well, you're just telling a bunch of other people who were there to tell people about their goods and services, right? You're not there. It's not like you filled a seminar room with a bunch of smokers who want to quit and you're the only hypnotist. Do you know what I mean? It's like everybody's a hypnotist and nobody wants to quit smoking, right? So it's a weird thing. So anyway, just some thoughts for today. I want you to watch these strategic and theoretical and hypnotic personal development, personal mastery videos, as well as my daily cryptos. I think the thoughts behind the process are very important, and I want you to transform your life. That's why I'm doing this. I want to help people. I want to make a difference. I don't want to just live and take up space. I don't really care about Ferraris and McMansions and trips and vacations. I mean, all that stuff is nice. I want to be able to record my music and to share it with a larger audience in a way that's significant and congruent and ecological for me. And I want to share how you can do what you want to do with your life in a way that's congruent and ecological and sustainable for you. All right? And on that thought, I'll see you in the next one. I love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Mark Shepard, over and out.